Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I have a wonderful lineup today. I'm so happy and excited to present these folks, these smart people here today. We've got guests from the University of Texas at Dallas. We've got Abigail Guerra. Hey Abby, can I call you Abby?
Hi.
I didn't even ask.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. And we got Leticia Ferreira at
Yes.
UTD, yep, who is
Yeah.
our student and TA, right,
Yes.
for this program. That's cool. And we've got Tom Bruhn, our friend from Ineo. What's up, Tom? How's it going?
Great to see you, Ben, and congratulations on the big news this week, my friend.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that very much. So, hey, if you're joining us now, go ahead and get active in the comments. The show is so much better when you are a part of it. So please give a shout out. Let me know who you are, where you are, what you're up to. If you have any questions for our academics or our industry expert here, let us know. We'd love to answer your questions. Hit that like button, send a little heart out there, and let's go really quick around the horn. And where is everybody today on this glorious day? Leticia, let's start with you. Where in the world are you right now?
I'm in McKinney. It's North Texas, some 20 miles from Dallas. Yeah, it's kind of not a bright day today. It's really.
Hey, you're
it's
talking
really
about. I'm in Detroit right now. Okay, it's 19
Okay.
degrees
No
and morose.
complaints. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're good. You could probably heat a pool right now. You're fine. I was actually just looking at some houses in. McKinney. McKinney's got some lovely homes.
Yes,
So
I
I'm
love it
checking it
here.
out.
Yeah.
I'm coming to visit. By the way, Leticia, did you know I'm moving to
Yes, you're
Dallas?
more than welcome here.
Well, thank you. I wasn't asking permission, but thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation. No, I'm just kidding. I don't need a visa to go to McKinney. All right, I'm
No,
good. No, I'm just kidding.
at least not so far.
Yeah, no, we're good. No, but I do look forward to connecting with you and stopping by UTD when everybody's in person, hopefully
Sure.
later in 2021. Abigail, where in the world are you right now?
I am also in Texas. I'm in Dallas right now, so pretty close to Leticia.
Nice, awesome. And then Tom, what about yourself?
I am in Castle Rock, Colorado, and it's not sunny today, although Colorado usually has a lot sunnier weather, but not today. So,
Well, Tom, you're getting some fabulous light there. I just want to say, very nice.
Thank you.
Kudos to the cinematographer. And then we've got people checking in here. Keep checking in. Hit that like button. Throw a little heart out there as well. Let us know where you're at, what you're up to. There's Leticia's getting into it. She's watching the show. She knows.
Coming. I know. Just bring some love to us, please.
I love it. And then we've got the professor, and it's Zidorek. Kind of, sort of. Did I mess it up?
Zidorek. Good to
Zidorek.
see you,
Hey, Professor, how you
Hi,
doing?
Professor.
We are waiting for you, Ben. All right, man. Cool. I'm coming. I'll be down there like Feb 1. All right. We'll have a socially distant, freezing cold backyard barbecue or something. It'll be great. Yeah, there he is. Excellent panel. Awesome. And I want to understand kind of more about your experiences there at the university. In fact, we're actually going to move Abigail up there so I can block my ugly mug here. Tim, hello all. Looking forward to this show from #Western New York. Tim, shout out to your barber. Jason Rollins and Express Corporate Housing checking in. The real heroes here, right? Looking forward to this great panel. Hey, Jason. Ryan Clevenger, amazing guest list today. Looking dapper. Tom, huge news, Ben. Absolutely amazing. Ryan, call me, dude. Let's FaceTime. Sound weird. Victoria McCullough, hi, Ben and guest. Victoria was so sweet. She reached out to me yesterday. It was so nice to hear your voice. Can't wait to see her in the D as well. Erica Burton, hi, Tom. Erica's kissy face there. I don't know, Tom. That's how rumors get started. Timothy Nowak, hey, everyone. Greetings from Denver. Hey, Tom, fellow Denverite. Denverite sounds like Vegemite. Jack Jampel, hi, everyone. Just a little better, not much. Stacy Huff, hi, everyone. Looking forward to hearing about the winning project. Yes, we have a bunch of winners here, and maybe not one. So we'll let you guess who that is. Amanda Rakowski, hi, everyone from Phoenix. What's up? Hey, get active in the comments. I want to hear your questions as well. But you know what? I'm going to go to you, Leticia, first, okay?
Okay.
All right. Since you're the closest thing to an authority figure that we have, you're okay.
That's true.
So yeah, right. Exactly. You're as the most responsible party on the call here today.
Oh my gosh.
Leticia, help us understand for the people maybe that missed Jam Week, the joint Academe-Mobility Week, or who maybe aren't familiar with the project or who just plumb forgot. What was the project? Can you scope it for us and give us some background?
Well, this is an amazing initiative. There was, let's say, inspired by a cooperation, a long-lasting cooperation between UTD and a bunch of industry professionals. So I think it started with a cooperation with Altair, with Laura Gattins, and the whole Center for Global Business at UTD. They are doing a lot of initiatives to bridge that gap. I mean, just really to connect our community at UT Dallas with the industry, just understanding what they need, what are the competency gaps that we really need to develop. So this is one of the initiatives. So we created this competition. It's a case competition where some 7 different problems that came from the industry. So people, you guys experts in the area of global mobility, just like came up with some interesting, current, pressing problems and gave it to us as, to our students to reflect on it, do some research and propose something. So we had 7 teams. They were coached by 7 amazing mentors, and among them Tom here. And also we've got very, great sessions, webinars, 6 webinars, again, with industry leaders, helping us to understand global mobility and to really reflect on what is it that they needed to work on. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Just the whole semester we've been working together, and the students presented their cases, I think 3 weeks ago. They've been judged by independent professionals as well, 3 judges, also stellar folks from the industry that judged our students, and we got 3 winners, and Abigail is one of them.
Hey, congratulations, Abigail. Give you a little round of applause. So Abigail, tell us about your experience. Before you tell us about your projects, I want to hear about that. Tell us about your studies, your coursework, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I, of course, am currently a student at UT Dallas. I'm a global business and a finance double major, and it's doing great just to be able to attend courses with Professor Zadoric and really just learn from everything there is about global business. And right now I am a junior, but it's been really great to not only be a part of this course, but to learn from the professionals and to really take part in this competition. But a little bit about the competition, like Leticia said, it was an incredible opportunity to really meet with these professionals that knew so much about global mobility. Every single week was just impressed and just kind of mind blown by all there is to know, in this field. And then when it came down to the competition, having Leticia and Professor Zadoric to really guide us throughout this whole experience was great. And then of course, having our mentor for my group was great. And the results really reflected on everything we learned.
Who was your mentor in your project?
I had Melissa Dennis, which she was awesome. Huge shout out to her.
And what company is she with?
She was with KPMG, but she recently retired.
Oh, nice. Awesome. So I want to ask you before we again get into the project. I got a lot of shows, so I got to really stretch these.
Yeah.
So, but help me understand, going into this class, what were your expectations, and maybe what were some of the aha moments or things that surprised you?
Sure. So my expectations for the class was really just to learn as much as possible. I kind of had an idea of what would really go on, but I wasn't really sure what to expect. And then actually getting in there and having Leticia introduce us to the different mentors and actually be able to hear from all the professionals was just really great. I think one of the most interesting portions of the actual series, like weekly series that we had, was when we had a talk about mental health. And that was just something that really struck a chord with me and was really interesting.
Why was that important to you, or why was that interesting to you?
Well, specifically because COVID right now is just kind of crazy, and this world that we're living in is just so tough to really, navigate. But having somebody express, how not only global mobility is moving forward with advocating more for mental health and really setting up different policies for that, but really just how to, help us out at school and how to really navigate that world and how to really keep everything going.
Thank you, Abigail. And we're going to talk about the winning project. But before we do, let's go to Tom. Tom, tell us a little bit about your experience as a mentor. Tell us about your project. I mean, give me some idea of some perspective. I've known you for a while now, and I miss seeing your face all the time at ERC and everything. You always got a smile, and you're always so much fun. And tell me about your experience in this project, Tom.
Well, I think the biggest surprise for me was that it's been going on for 6 years and I knew nothing about it.
Wow.
And our buddy, Kerwin Guillermo, is the one who kind of turned me on to the whole concept. And
Shout out to Kerwin.
Yeah. He's amazing. So I got to meet Laura through this also, and she's been involved with it for the full 6 years. She's been a mentor, I think. I don't know if she's had other roles, but she was really very instrumental in kind of explaining the way the whole thing works. It's amazingly organized. And, before this, I think that the industry has talked a lot about how do we shore up the entire academic piece of it with mobility. And it was just, of course, something that I'd like to jump at every time. And
let me stop you right there, Tom, because I want to unpack what you said there. How do we shore up the academic piece? I've had the same thought, right? And I've heard other people say it. And sometimes we back into this conclusion too when we say nobody ever studied global mobility or relocation when they end up here, right? But why do you think it's so important, maybe to you, or maybe should be so important to our industry to shore up the academic piece?
a couple reasons. Before I got involved in this project, I think the best initiative I ever saw was actually based in Texas. One of my clients was Textron years ago, and Bell Helicopters right in Hurst, Texas. And there was an amazing woman named Jennifer Trejo. Textron was very involved in career fairs, and as their mobility account manager, I used to literally go at different schools around the country with Jennifer, and we would get involved in these career fairs. And that was really interesting just in terms of having that level of interaction, but it's fundamentally different than what this University of Texas project looks like. So, I can't say enough about what Hubert and Leticia and everyone at UT did to really bring this forward. And even after we finish this time, there's all kinds of ideas we talked about to improve it yet again for next year. Well, and I just can see this thing kind of getting better and better and better,
And one of the things that we came out of the talk with Hubert when we did the week around this topic was, how do we seed this idea in other areas, maybe at other universities, or how do people that are in global mobility that are watching this now and say, yeah, I've always wanted to get more involved with the academia. I mean, gosh, we had Rena Montalvo on yesterday, Debbie Convery's doing this. This is kind of really, seems like it's really gaining a lot of momentum. What advice would you give to global mobility professionals who are out there right now who are thinking, hey, how can I bring a program or an idea like this to a university near me? What do you think it was about the UTD program that made it so dynamic and so effective and interesting?
Well, one of the things that was really amazing to me is the level of diversity in that school. So, I'll just go out on a limb here a little bit. You've been one of the few people I've seen that really gets into this idea of having uncomfortable conversations. And, I started off with this group. I'm not sure a single one of them came from a completely white background, which was really refreshing, quite frankly. And when we started the project, I just thought it was important to just go cut to the chase and tell them that when we talk about, attracting, developing, and retaining talent, which was our project, that we really need to get into a really strong dialogue about DE&I stuff. And I think that for mobility companies in general, once we get back into this whole idea of entry-level hiring and really shoring up our pipeline for that, that's where we need to head in general to really get the talent for the future, because demographically, of course, everyone knows the direction the country's heading. So, you know, I think that what we've seen in the last couple of years might be the last gasp of maybe some male white privilege. I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's where the country has to head, right? I mean, when we look at, you know, I mean, we look at topics like immigration, you know, and I'm definitely choosing sides here, but I mean, it is what it is. When we look at topics like immigration, we look at what immigrants have done for our country, and we look at Google, and we look at Tesla, and we look at all these amazing corporations in the United States, and the U.S. has been the benefactor of being the talent destination of choice for the world for the past 100 years, right? And
Yep.
what we're reaping right now, the greatness that is America right now, is the product of generations of being the destination of choice. I think we have to continue to be the destination of choice for the best and brightest people in the world, right, and the entrepreneurs of the world. So I 100% agree with you. Leticia, I'm gonna stay in this topic a little bit, right? Because this global mobility, what was the name of this class first?
This was a global HR management class. So this is a class that is part of this global business undergrad program at UTD.
So, okay, wonderful. That's helpful. Okay, so it's a global business undergrad program. It's the global HR management class.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear, you know, maybe kind of an outsider perspective on this, but along the lines of what Tom was talking about. What are your thoughts around everything from DE&I to immigration policies to some of the thought leadership around that may not be coming from the mobility industry that maybe we can learn from?
Yeah, well, definitely the community at UT Dallas is very, very diverse, especially in the grad side of it, which I'm part. I would say that maybe 80% of our student body in the graduate courses are international ones. Of course, many of them come from China, many of them from India, but we have people like me from Brazil or from Mexico, from Nigeria, from Iran, so many different countries. Our professors also are very diverse. You know, the undergrad courses, we have mostly second generation immigrants. So again, we have this influence, we have this multicolor face at UT Dallas, and I think it really helps us develop this sense of being global professionals, being really cross-cultural, prepared to operate in a cross-cultural environment. So I really think UTD is unique in this regard, I guess.
Nice. Let's take some let's look at some comments here, and just I want to make sure we're incorporating and honoring everybody that stopped by to see us today. Please leave your questions, leave your comments. I want to know your thoughts on what we're talking about. Give me your thoughts on global HR. Give me your questions for our experts here today, and we'll riff on those a little bit. You know. We got some people checking in here from Phoenix and New York City. What's up, Laura? You've been so great and so supportive. We've got Joanna checking in from Sweden. What's up, Joanna? Steve Miser. Hey, driver. How's it going down in St. Pete, Florida? Stay safe out there, buddy. Let's see. Greetings. Look forward to hear from Tom and the student perspectives. Got congratulations, Abigail. Look at this. Mike Quigley. What's up, Quigs? How's it going? Shouting out here. Greg was on the program. Hey, all, it's a pleasure to work with Abigail this semester. Such a hard worker and good teammate. So is this Greg's way of trying to like humble brag real quick? Like,
I think so.
Like,
I saw the show with Greg and the young other student who was a young woman.
It was Nita.
And, yeah, I'll tell you. And, you know, Abigail's another really good example. The comment I typed in was, I wish I'd had that amount of poise and maturity when I was in college.
So poised.
No comparison. No comparison.
Seriously. Well, you know, Abigail, that's a great segue. Regale us with your poise. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your project that Greg may or may not have had something to do with.
Yes, Greg had a great part in it. He was actually our team lead, so he was super helpful throughout as well. Our project was really interesting. It was about creating policy positions surrounding advocacy for global mobility And I don't know, I have to say I really enjoyed the topic. And of course, Melissa was just a huge help and always was willing to give great advice.
So tell me what that means exactly, because there's a lot of big words. I like to be the one using the big words on the show. So tell me exactly what that means. Advocating for policies. Unpack that for me, if you would.
Sure. So moving into, a COVID, post-COVID world, we were trying to come up with ways in which global mobility could be facilitated, or how companies should move going forward. So for example, policy positions surrounding working from home, or how there's also a portion about mental health and even how to use technology to really help in the workplace.
What were some of the findings like in that process that you thought were really interesting?
Sure. So I'll go back to the mental health one. That was a portion that I was in charge of along with my teammate. And I have to say, just hearing about and knowing about the challenges that people are experiencing because of COVID was really interesting, but also creating policies surrounding that. For example, with more training and with just overall, just more open conversation surrounding that.
Yeah, it is interesting. COVID has definitely changed the workforce and what it looks like and means to be at work. As I sit here in my basement, which Tom was like, "Where are you, in the back cave?" As I sit here in my basement of mystery and darkness. No, but Leticia, what are your thoughts as you look at this, and if you kind of had exposure to a lot of the different projects and stuff? I mean, what trends are you seeing in global HR as it pertains to work from home, work from anywhere?
Yeah, I was just about to mention this. So of course, though the group was focusing on working from home, we are hearing more and more about working from anywhere. So it definitely has this technology aspect that must be involved, but also some huge concerns in terms of privacy, and also what is involved in terms of visa. If you're going to work from anywhere and you are, I don't know, where are you? And if you still need to file taxes, and you still need some type of visa or some sort of information regarding where you are in the world. So there is, some few issues that still need to be addressed. But this is definitely a trend, and we all have survived all these long months of COVID and staying at home, and sometimes we just need a break. We just need to go somewhere, not really our home. Sometimes we're just like sick and tired of just looking at the same walls around us. So it's good that companies are becoming more and more flexible to embrace the idea of just, even after COVID, that people may be willing and maybe even more motivated to work from a different place.
So, question, we're just going to go around the horn real quick, and I just need a kind of a one-word answer here. Work from home, is this a short-term or long-term trend in your opinion? So you just got to say short-term or long-term. We're just going to go around the horn here. So Abigail, short-term or long-term?
Long-term.
Leticia, short-term or long-term?
Long-term.
Tom, short-term or long-term?
Both.
Oh, both! The only true one-word answer, the non-hyphenated both. All right, Tom, explain yourself.
Well, I'm a good example. I always worked in the office until COVID. I was never a big fan of working from home because I like the change of pace, and it's just, I'm a creature of habit. So yeah, I'm a baby boomer, so that was my comfort zone, I suppose. And once COVID hit, of course, I didn't have a choice. I had to work from home all the time. So our office decided in July that we would allow some people back in, and only about 4 or 5 people actually raised their hand. I was one of them. But I like what I've struck now, because now I'm in the office usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and working from home Tuesday, Thursday. And I think that a lot of people are going to take the opportunity to do a little bit of both. There is a social element to working in the office that most people in business will tell you cannot be replaced virtually. So I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the That is probably the best argument for it not being a long-term thing that I've heard. And I would, we're going to go down the rabbit hole in this a little bit, Abigail and Leticia. So feel free to jump in, but we're gonna nerd out on the topic du jour in relocation, which is really a subset of the topic. Are we all screwed, and is there no future in our jobs? But let's go down this rabbit hole just for a moment here, right? The best argument, yeah, is the networking argument, right? And Abigail, this applies to you, right? So as a young professional coming into the workforce, right? Tom and I would tell you that, and Leticia, you as well. And Tom and I would tell you it's about who you know, and also, as somebody wise once told me, who knows you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for anybody to know you and to know anybody when, at best, you're a 2-inch square on a laptop, and at worst, you're just a voice on a conference call. So I'm going to ask you before positing my ideas on this, Abigail and Leticia, as people coming into the workforce and pursuing careers in global HR, let's just say, how do you think that you would deal with a scenario where it was a total virtual environment and getting the networking, the development, and the face time with people to influence your career? Abigail, you want to think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I don't have any experience in a real corporate environment, so I can't really tell you what the pros and cons might be. But from what I can tell, I know that it would definitely make it more difficult to network and really get in like those coffee chats and just being able to sit down with people and get to know what they're doing. And of course, it's also going to make it a little bit more difficult for me to figure out exactly what avenue I want to take, because it's those conversations that really lead you into understanding where it is that you want to go in your career. So I don't know, hopefully maybe do a conference call. I don't know.
Well,
what the
and I'm
answer to that would be.
going to push you a little bit, Abigail, right? Because
Sure.
this is academia, right? We're here to learn. So I'm going to stretch you a little bit here, okay? As a person who is a junior, right? So I'm guessing you're about 21 years old, give or take.
Yeah.
And who is kind of supposed to be, very digitally versed, right? I mean, that's what we all think about young people, right? Those kids these days, those people thinking about me. I'm thinking about you. It rolls downhill. How would you use digital tools? And Leticia, I want to ask you the same question, but how would you use the digital tools? How does this bridge the gap? Or does it bridge the gap? Or what could be done in the next 5 years to get the tools up to speed to actually make it feasible, you think?
Well, I think something that I've noticed for sure is when I try to set up calls with people, there definitely is a little bit more of an allowance for those meetings to actually be held, because before you would have to schedule some time for, drive to whatever is your meeting, or maybe put in some time beforehand to really, I don't know. But really, it's just logging onto your computer where you're already sitting there, you're already prepared to have that conversation. So there could definitely be improvements there, but that's...
So you think people are more willing to actually have meetings because it doesn't have to be so formalized?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. Leticia, what are your thoughts on that?
I was thinking of what you said a few moments ago, saying that maybe we cannot really know people just through this small screen, right? But also we've seen some other trend, which is like, okay, when you go to the office, you kind of have to wear that persona, everything, and you are that professional in a professional environment and so on. And then when we are working from home or from anywhere, you have out of a sudden all this, family background, something going on at the house, or something going on in an outside environment where you are at. So people are actually getting to know their colleagues, even in a different level, just like to talk about something that just happened with my kid, and then was like, okay, now I know that you have a kid. I didn't know about it, and probably we will never talk about it at the office. But then things happen at home, so you hear that noise, you hear that person, you see the dog, and so we may find that the connection we have now is even deeper. I don't know. Of course, the person I think never will replace this, in-person contact. But somehow, while we still are here in this situation, I think we are actually connecting in a deeper level probably during these days. We are all in the same boat. We are all suffering the same challenges, or very similar challenges everywhere. So I don't know. I may disagree with you that we cannot really connect. I actually feel like I know you guys already.
I need to jump in here, Ben.
Oh, tag, you're it, man. Come in.
So let me give you a couple of examples. The first one I'll give you is that most people by now have done family Zoom calls, okay? So I would challenge anyone who's listening to this to say to themselves, a family Zoom call is just as good as all of us getting together in the same city and breaking bread together and having dinner together. So I'm a little bit of a music freak, and probably no one's gone to more live music events than me. But again, of course, I haven't gone to a live music event since, God, I can't even remember.
Right.
You can go to a Zoom, you can see, webcasts of live concerts and stuff, but there's no comparison. So I think that from a business perspective, account management, if you're going to be building a relationship with a client that's really going to get just beyond a fairly superficial level, it's easier for a client to dump you if they've never met you in person than it is once you've established a really strong connection in person. They get to know you, they get to trust you, they feel you know what you're talking about. It's just a completely different type of relationship, I think. So
yeah, Tom, you bring up a great point, but I got to tell you, I love Leticia's point. As Leticia sits here with her Brazilian flag right there, like all of a sudden, like everything makes sense for me about Leticia. Okay, I get it. I know who she is now. She's warm. We love the Brazilians on this show. Shout out to our Brazilians. I think I saw Janaína tuning in earlier, but
Janaína.
Right. I mean, so I think what's interesting is to Leticia's point. I mean, I feel like on a Zoom call, you can learn more about somebody in 30 minutes than you would have learned about a coworker in 5 years of working in the cubicle next to them. Because we talk about, from a DE&I perspective, Tom, we talked about that earlier. From a DE&I perspective, the measuring stick, that I once heard that I really loved is, does a person feel comfortable bringing their whole self to work, right? To bringing their whole self, right? And now people are bringing their home into their work environment. I mean, what's more personal than what's on Leticia's bookshelf and her board? And I think we all like to scan the backdrop and try to see what kind of art is that Tom's got. It's a little, is that a bong in the background, Tom? I don't know what's going on in Denver. But we're all looking. Okay, no rumors. I won't spread any rumors, right? No, but the point is, I mean, we're all looking around, right? And so. And I think, and actually, Tom, you brought up my dark background, and I think there's almost something disconcerting about that, right? Because it's like, hey, Ben, what's going on back there? Where you at, buddy? I mean,
it's like an updated Rod Serling Twilight Zone thing going on or something. I don't know. Are you going to introduce a horror movie or something?
Yeah, I got a whole Dexter setup behind this curtain over here. Don't worry about it. No, but I think, so I think it's interesting, and to Leticia's point earlier, and Tom, I mean, I love everything you said too, because I'm a relationship guy. I'm used to the hugs and the handshakes of ERC and the cocktails and the jokes and the laughs and everything, and the shared experiences, that we get into. But I think that Leticia, like I said before in the green room, I feel like I know you. Because you've been actively commenting. We shared a few emails. Now we're here, and this completes the whole picture for me. And I feel like we're like buds, and we've never met. So yeah, I don't know, Tom. I wonder if it's just not evolving.
Well, it's both. It's both. I think is the short. I really believe that. I think that Leticia's points are all 1,000% valid. I mean, I agree with everything she said. Also, there's a time and a place for everything, I suppose. And I think that virtual meetings certainly bring a lot more continuity to the relationships than when we ever had pre-Zoom. Of course, you get to see people more often. You get to have more meetings. Some people might say we're having too many meetings, but that's okay. But you
Too
know,
many happy hours, that's for sure, right? Since when do we do 5 happy hours in a week, right? It's like, whoa.
speak for yourself, Ben.
Take it easy. Yeah, but no, that's great. Hey, speaking of you know, immersive relationships and experiences, you know, I think that also we've seen an evolution in the way these things are done. And I will use this as an example, you know, as a case in point. And shout out to everybody that's left comments. We're going to get to all your comments right now, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we're talking about. Paul, Martin, Victoria, Janaina, Janet, you know, everybody, Hubert, you know, I'd love for you to chime in. Simon, Denise, Valerie, chime in on your thoughts on what we're talking about. We're going to get to your comments right now. But I think when done right, I mean, think about how much further we've come or how far away we are from the webinar, right? The webinars used to be it, right? You wanted a virtual learning experience. It was a webinar, and it was a PowerPoint that, and all the comments were disabled. Everybody was muted. And now we went like the whole other direction, where it's like scrap the PowerPoint, unmute everybody. Comments are crazy. I mean, look what Paul DeBoer's over here talking wild over here. Ben, what are you doing? 2 beautiful ladies, and you bring in Tom. Kidding, of course. Tom's a technology degree. It's going to be both. But I mean, like, this is the craziness, right? Like, would Paul have grabbed the microphone at Worldwide ERC and said that? No. But he somehow feels comfortable putting it right here, you know. So
No, don't let Paul fool you. I could tell you some stories, but he has a couple on me too, so it's all right. It's all good.
Yeah. So it's so interesting. It's so fun to be a part of it. Let's get some of these comments in here as well, and make sure we're honoring all these folks. And I want to hear your thoughts, the comments, and the questions. Let's see here. Janaina says, "Loving to see my people in the show." Loves the Brazilians there, Janaina. Shout out. Gotta come see you, Janaina, in Rio. Love in Rio. Lots of love at Love in Relo. Hey, Mike, it's good talking to you today, buddy. Val, well, hello to you all from Deluxe, sitting in rainy and cold Houston today. If you think it's cold in Houston, come to the D. It's wild up here. Simon, hi from the UK. What's up, Simon? Hope all is well at the new gig. Denise Mass checking in from Chicago. Look at that. Ben's over here typing while he's talking. Scary. Who knows what I'm right? Well said, Leticia. Diversity equals innovation. Let's riff on some of these comments real quick here. Diversity equals innovation. We're going to go around the horn, lightning round again. Yes or no, and why? Real quick. I'll start with you, Abigail, again. You know, diversity equals innovation. Is it that clear cut? Yes or no?
Yes, definitely. I think that diversity allows for different ideas to be shared and different backgrounds to really make things work, and innovation is definitely an outcome of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with that. And sometimes when I think about diversity, and everybody, you know, it became just this buzzword. And there are some environments where you don't want that diversity. You don't want that level of innovation. Sometimes you need that thing to be done as it has been done forever.
Give me an example on that.
I don't know.
I want the counterpoint here.
Yeah, I know. Maybe
diversity is bad. Go ahead.
Let me say areas like accounting. You don't want to be creative in accounting, right? It sometimes you just like
stick all the white guys in accounting. Let's bring all the diversity to the rest of the organization.
I mean,
my words.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that some areas or some functions or some jobs don't really require that level of innovation, creativity, and it's fine not to have, you know, diversity there, but in every other area or department or job, when you really need to innovate, to be creative, to just like bring different perspectives, this is all about really bringing people from different backgrounds, different age, different gender, different whatever, right?
Now, Tom, I let them go first because they got the layup position here. Okay, so I'm not going to make you argue the no position, but I'm going to ask you to give me an example that you can think of, if you can think of one where diversity's actually created some innovation, having diverse perspectives, or some sort of an actual example. Because I think there's people that still would argue this point is not being proven yet.
So I totally weigh in on the idea that diversity does equal innovation, and even on accounting teams, I think you could probably do some pretty creative things. You'd be surprised. That's why some people go to jail, by the way, because they're so creative.
Yeah, exactly right.
But you know, I always look at it from the lens of leadership, and I think that some of the most interesting things I've seen in my career have been with high-performing teams where the leaders actually went out of their way to bring people with different perspectives onto the team. So the problem with leadership where you're surrounded by a bunch of yes people is that you're not going to really, there is no creativity. You're just going to be a bunch of clones. I think that, you know, someone who can actually grab a bunch of talented people who have completely different strengths and get each one of those individuals to kind of capitalize on the strengths and start to build whatever that goal is. That's where you really see some cool things come out. And, you know, diversity, I'll tell you, even at ERC, some of the most interesting presentations I've seen lately, my friend Laura Levinson and a client of mine, Susan Kubiesa, and Mercedes, I'm forgetting her last name, and I'm sorry, Mercedes. But anyway, they did a great presentation on diversity, and there's really very little argument for not doing things that just kind of capitalize on DE and I really believe that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and let me just
Go ahead,
add
Leticia.
something. So I really think that it doesn't really help if you have this bunch of people that are different, diverse, and so on. It's just, I couldn't agree more with Tom that we need that leadership. We need that environment that allows and embraces and encourages the, you know, a different position, the challenge, and, you know, the one who will say no sometimes, will say, no, I don't agree with that. So this is a point that sometimes I'm concerned about. We are possibly living in a time where you kind of are expected to say that those little things and to behave that way and to agree with this and that. And if you say something different, people may be kind of in a defensive position against you. So I think it's really, really important to have that environment, that culture, and that leadership that embraces the difference, and not only just like bring people different in, but you don't hear their voices, right?
Yeah, you know, and how do we, and let's stay there just for a moment here, because I think what you bring up is the practical aspect, right? So conceptually, is diversity, does it equate to innovation? Yes, we agree. Okay. Practically speaking, how do we make space for those voices, space for those ideas, and allow disadvantaged groups to have their fair shake and fair seat at the table, and fair influence and relevance in an organization? Thoughts, Leticia, Abigail?
Yeah, so again, first of all, you have to have that space, right? That opportunity to talk. And whenever someone talks and brings a different opinion, brings a different perspective, if the leadership is just say, yeah, but don't say it here. It's not the way we do. It's not the way you operate. It's not the way we expect you to think. Then you're gone. Right. But I think leaders really play a very important role in that. But not only leaders. And I'm not talking just about the, you know, the manager, the supervisor, but, you know, even your colleagues. If there's someone that is influential in a team, and this person just cuts off whatever different opinion that comes in, then you won't have that innovation, you won't have that result. So I think the leaders and the whole team is responsible for just like making sure, okay, it is really about innovating. And if that is the case, so all those you know, very well-known tools like brainstorming and other ways of getting ideas from different people, but the moderator, someone who's really helping that, just facilitating that voice and that innovation and that contribution to be absorbed is very, very important. It's not easy, but it's really very, very important, I think.
Abigail, can you recall a time when maybe someone made space for you and your ideas and your voice?
Definitely in this competition, I would say that not only did Professor Zadorek and Leticia make sure that each of our ideas were heard and really incorporated into everything that we did, but it was really each individual in my team really made sure to respect each other's ideas, and we would have, regular sessions where we would just talk about what we would like to see implemented and really just make sure that no one idea was being left out or like Leticia was saying, that there wasn't that one person kind of shutting everybody off, and it was really a collaborative environment.
Nice. Awesome. We got some great comments coming in. Thanks for your thoughts on this. I know I'm putting us on the spot here. We're talking about real stuff here. That's kind of like one of the things we like to do here. We don't just gloss over things. To Tom's point earlier, it usually doesn't get me in trouble. So let's see here. Janet. Okay, Janet brings up a great counterpoint here or nuance here. Aren't most of the immigration issues in the United States about legal versus non-legal? And she's clarifying, not anti-immigration, but isn't it about legal versus non-legal? What are your thoughts on that, Leticia? Leticia, you got some thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, I'm being an immigrant myself. What I see is that, of course, we want more opportunities to really take advantage of this creative, diverse, and just this rich of experiences that immigrants bring. And I'm not just bragging, but it is fact that those people will bring some different perspectives that can be amazing contribution to development of the economy and the society as a whole. But sometimes if we see, I do agree that this is a matter of legal and illegal immigration, because I've been here for 5 years, and God knows how hard it is, and how disciplined we must be to really keep our status and everything legal. Of course, there is temptation everywhere, but all these 5 years, I've never worked in anything that was out of status for me, and this is hard, right? And when we go through that process, and we really try hard.
I want to stay there just for 1 second, Leticia. I want to stay there just for 1 second, okay? Because I think that sometimes we think that you're either allowed to be here or you're not, right? You either snuck over, right, or you're allowed. But what you're saying, and I think this is so important, and unless people understand immigration, I don't think they understand this, that you're allowed to be here doing what you're doing, but you're not allowed to be here doing what maybe Tom is doing or I'm doing.
Exactly.
Right? And
right.
so you are legal now, but if you go take a job at Ineo, maybe you're illegal, right?
Exactly. So I have to really maintain my status. So I'm here under student visa. All I can do is to be a student, and I'm working at UTD as a teaching assistant, and that's all I can do with my visa now. So of course I'd love to be working for Ineo or whatever other company, but I just cannot at this point with my particular visa. So, and when we see and people who really take it seriously and do what is legal, and when we see people who don't care about it, and people who are here illegally forever for I don't know many years, and now are gonna just gain status and stuff like that, it's just I don't think it's fair, because there are really serious people doing their best to bring a contribution and to really follow the law and the rules. And we don't want to see other guys that are breaking the rules just being favored at this point. So I don't know. I'm just saying that to me, it's a matter of legal and illegal. So hopefully I'm working hard, and my family here also, to change my situation. And then whenever I can get this green card or whatever, just permanent residency, I'll be able to do so much more. And I'm just looking forward to it. But at this point, I have to be contained in my visa scope. And that's what I do.
Do you feel like you have more of an impact to make here in the United States, and you have more to give if your status were different?
I'd love that. Again, I'm not bragging, but I have some 20 years of experience in just like working for multinational companies in the healthcare industry, and I know I can do more. I know I can.
Do you feel like the United States would benefit from changing your status?
Well, I think so. I do think so.
I
Interesting.
do too.
I think we all do, right? I mean, if you're still tuned in right now, you obviously do. So I think that that's the interesting part too, right? So it's like when we look at people who maybe are cutting corners and doing things to be here illegally, and first of all, there's also a problem with like people aren't illegal, right? Like the actions maybe or whatever might be violated certain statutes, but you know, it's like so labeling people legal versus illegal, right, is problematic. But I mean, I think that part of the animosity that you have towards people that are here with non-legal status is because they're cutting corners and they're getting to a place where you would like to be, but you want to do it legally and ethically. But perhaps you're both making a contribution, right? And then perhaps the country's better off having you regardless of how. So anyway, it's interesting, Jen, and it's great nuance. And I think that's, I appreciate you sharing that. Abigail, did you have anything to add on this topic, or Tom?
I could add something, but I don't know if Abigail has something.
You're good. Go for it, Tom.
All right. I think it's really two issues. So first of all, legal versus non-legal. I don't think there's a huge argument about the need for legal immigration. In fact, I don't think I've heard anything on any mobility discussion where anyone's arguing that illegal immigration is cool. So I'll say that the real issue, I think, and again, I'm sorry, I probably sound kind of political, but the administration that's outgoing has certainly been anti-immigration, and some of the executive orders that have been made really don't have anything to do with legal versus illegal. There's entire categories of, you know, in one case Asian, in one case Middle Eastern. So those kinds of decisions cloud the issue, I think, and a lot of people really don't understand the nuances of immigration. We're kind of in the enviable position of really understanding the ramifications of what all of those executive orders and some of the things that came down over the last 4 years, how it impacted things. So, you know, that's a completely different situation. And, you know, legal versus illegal, I don't see that as being that controversial.
Tom, you know, it'd be funny if like every 3 years we had to go down to the DMV and prove that we were working in the same job that we had before when we got our driver's license, or else they would send us somewhere. I think that'd be an interesting. I think that would put things in perspective for some people. The privilege that we have as being people who have born here in America and not having to go through the rigmarole. Let's see here. We got some other really cool comments coming up here. I agree, Leticia. UTD is doing great to help businesses increase their diversity. Yeah, that is such a diverse campus too.
It is.
Victoria's. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Victoria's saying long-term change for work from home. Paul's critiquing the lineup. Martin Foxwell, hey, Tom, is that some Richard Thompson I see in the voluminous CD collection back there?
There is some Richard Thompson in there, yes.
Diverse certainly described your taste in music, sir. Oh, that's great.
Thanks, Martin.
I love this show because we really do. We get into the person, we get political, we get personal, we get professional, you know. We talk about food, drink. Well said, Abigail. In-person networking is very important and will continue to be important in making decisions here. Victoria says, I understand for younger people having a need to be around people, but frankly, I found people more available virtually. Yeah, so that's kind of what Abigail was saying. I feel like I made great connections I would have never made being in the office.
Más o menos, Victoria, más o menos.
This is interesting because you know what, like when I made like this little announcement saying like I was going to go do my own thing this week, people were so cool about it and everybody reached out, and Tom, I actually owe you a response. So thank you for reaching out to me. It means the world. But like so many people reached out and like, I'm like, hey, you want to Zoom real quick? You know, and like, I mean, we're talking about like CEOs of companies that were in other parts of the country and world, and like, hey, you want to Zoom? Let me throw you a quick link, you know? And they'll hop on a Zoom with you. Whereas before I'd have to cook up some story about being in the neighborhood, Tom, you know, and like, I'll just tell you, I just happened to be at Denver today, Bill, you know, you want to just take a quick, you know, minute with me, you know? And then, get on a plane and go do something like that. So it's it may not be quite as good as in person, but man, I'll take the ease and quantity of availability. It's just, let's see here, Janina. Okay, all right, Leticia. What is Janina saying?
I cannot read it. Can you read it for me, please?
Oh yeah, it's it says UHUUL. Uhu Brazil rock.
Woohoo! Yes.
Uhu, that's uhu. Okay.
Yes.
Portuguese for uhu. All right. Woohoo. Janina, I love you. You're great. Simon
Hi,
John,
Janina.
I agree with the virtual friends. I feel like I've met you, Ben, in person, although we haven't, and regard you as a friend. Yeah, for sure. Simon, I remember when you were going through your stint of being unemployed and then getting a gig and everything, and all those gin and tonics and crazy comments. Simon Johns, I'm having Teams meetings with prospective clients in casual attire and having the most productive meetings and developing great relationships. This is the way forward. Follow up with face-to-face meetings when we can. We're going back to human, not digital. Interesting. So these are some of the comments before here. Let's see here. Comments about work from home here. We're just going to kind of talk a little bit more about this. Martin says, to the earlier point, I think work from home is here to stay, and travel will probably be cut roughly in half.
I agree with that.
Wow. You think so Tom, you think long term like what does that mean? Our conference schedule gets like halved? And
yeah, I think that the new model is going to be, I think Lynn Shotwell has some really good ideas about how ERC is going to look in the future, and she already said that if they do the conference in October in Chicago, that there will be an element that's virtual. And to get back to young people a little bit, one of the things that organizations would take advantage of, I think, is that they'd allow a lot greater attendance for people who are lower on the org chart if it wasn't so expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's great experience. It's a great reward and recognition thing for entry-level people who are high potentials. And I think that more organizations can look at doing some really, really creative things around conference attendance and a little bit more visibility with the executive team. So
I love that idea, Tom. I mean, I was a part of the IAM conference and planning that, and that was one of the big upsides was that, the coordinator level people, the associate level people who would never get to go to conference. I mean, Tom, I consider myself so fortunate to be that 1% guy at every organization I've worked at that gets to go to the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the most, I mean, honestly, I've said for many years that the greatest part of some of the jobs I've had through the years has been the ability to get FaceTime with clients, go to the conferences, meet new people, meet mentors, meet leaders. It's really, really a valuable aspect of the career. And I'm sure you feel the same way, right?
Oh, it's a blessing. It's the reason I do this. It's the inspiration for this show, honestly, to bring that experience and distill it, and make it available to people, right? Abigail, while we have you and Leticia here, I want to end the show and kind of focus on you, right? So help us understand what your aspirations now after this class are going to be, and what you hope to do and aspire to do with your degree from UTD. Abigail, you want to go first?
Yeah, of course. So I will be graduating here in about a year, and with my global business and finance major, there's a lot of avenues I can go into, but I have to say that my ideal career would be in a company that would allow me to work with, globally on a global scale, but still use, my love for numbers, my need to be analytical and really look at numbers and have those numbers tell a story to really express those findings out into the world. So that would be perfect for me.
Awesome. So you're going to be in the job market in a year, approximately?
Yes, approximately 2022 is when I graduate. So approximately a year.
Is there a profile of a company that you might be looking at, an industry, a location? Is it US based? Is it local Texas? Is it overseas? Hey, this is your opportunity. If somebody's out there, it might be like, hey, I'll take a flyer.
I would love to be somewhere. I would love to be somewhere that's international if possible. I love Spain. I had an opportunity to actually study abroad there, and I speak Spanish myself. So being able to really leverage that would be great.
Cool. So if you hear that, any Spanish-based global mobility companies out there, might be a little specific, but hey,
Spain's
right?
great. Why not?
Why not, right? Leticia, I'd like to ask you the same question. What is your dream after this?
Yeah, so I'm also graduating in a year from now. So it's going to be, I'm finishing this MBA it's a dual MBA/MS in international management. What I would like to do is really make those bridges connecting countries somehow. So my background has been in sales and marketing for a long time, but I don't want to be just like for all my life in marketing and sales, but I think those abilities, those skills of just like connecting with people, somehow helping companies, American companies, to develop business across Latin America or vice versa, that's something I aspire to do.
So now, is that role, that dream role, is it here in the States? Is it in Brazil? Is it somewhere else?
My plan is to stay in the US. So yeah,
I-
for as long as I can be here legally.
Legally,
Exactly. I'm staying
No,
here.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
But no,
hopefully couple
we got
more
a lot
years.
of Brazilian, people that watch the show here, and Janaína, one of my very good friends, she always jokes on me. She's like, really, Ben, you don't, you always make fun of me. Why are you always making fun of me? No, but Janaína is a great resource. Patricia Tavares is a great resource. We've had a lot of great companies from South America that could need, representation over here too, right? So feel free to connect with me, and I'm happy to also connect you. Same to you, Abigail. If I can ever be a resource, please.
Thank
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, both. Tom, would you like to maybe kind of give us a closing thought as well?
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. I think that just listening to this conversation today, when I was doing a little bit more public speaking than I have been for the last year, one of the questions I used to like to ask the audience is, how many of you are in sales and marketing? So, only about, I'd say 25 to 33% of the hands would go up. And I always tell everyone it's a trick question because everybody's in sales and marketing.
Yes.
And, again, I think that this program that the University of Texas, Dallas is doing is just absolutely amazing. They're really giving these students an enviable foundation that, gosh, I wish I had had it when I was that age. It really is amazing. And you can tell just by the way, today Abigail has spoken, and some of the students, if you'd seen these presentations, honest to God, some of them were about as good as anything I see professionally on a daily basis. No offense, Ben.
No, we know. I know. I'm in the same room, Tom. I see it, Tom.
No, they're really doing some remarkable things there, and I just encourage people to kind of check into that. And if it can be replicated at a much wider swath throughout the country, then more power to UTD for just being that kind of an influence.
Tom, there's people watching right now that probably are inspired by this and want to get involved with young people and help pass the global mobility torch and inspire people to pursue it as a career. What advice would you give to professionals that wanted to do something like what you've done?
Oh boy, another one. So what advice would I think I'd actually say, what advice would I give to the students? And it's really what I just said, you need to be conscious of your brand. I think that you need to be someone who knows how to say thankful. I'm very thankful more often than you might realize you're saying it. I think that early on we talked about having some of the uncomfortable conversations, but the reason they're uncomfortable is you've never tried to have them. So once you start having those conversations, it's a lot easier. And really, in some ways, you can kind of build a reputation of having integrity and trust just by kind of maybe crossing that comfort line a little bit more often than you're used to. But yeah, I think that the sky's the limit for people like Abigail and Leticia. I really do.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I'm going to ask you both another question here. Leticia, people that are watching this out here in the global mobility, arena, they're always looking for great talent, great young talent, and to find someone who actually specializes in what they do is probably pretty shocking for most of us, honestly, that people are actually studying global mobility in any capacity or global HR. How would you recommend they find and attract folks like you and Abigail and your other students to their companies? Because I think we're all in need of top talent.
Yeah, I think one of the ideas and something that is really already aligned for the coming year for us is really, and it's an idea that actually came up from one of your shows whenever we had this Jam Week. That was having global mobility career fair. So something that will be kind of specialized, because nobody knows about this industry. Honestly, I didn't know about this industry until this semester, right? And I think it's so fascinating how all those different disciplines and all different areas like finance, legal, marketing, sales, HR, and all different supply chain, everything can be somehow useful for a company that is part of this big ecosystem, which is global mobility. So just reaching out, just go there, somehow go there and talk with people within those universities. And Professor Zidorek is already organizing this conference that's going to be kind of a career fair specialized in global mobility for the end of March. So here's one opportunity. And if you guys have a different idea, just go ahead and reach out to him. So Hubert Zidorek at UT Dallas, go there, speak with him, because he's just like eager to bridge that gap and to really connect with the industry.
Yeah, Leticia, I want to mention something that I picked up on. If I'm not mistaken, Laura Gattens, who's been involved with this for 6 years,
Yes.
has actually pulled a couple of UTD students into Altair, right?
Yes.
So I think that's been really successful for her and for the student. I mean, it's symbiotic, it's a two-way street, so it worked out really well for both parties. But
yeah. If you go, if you go there and just like share your opportunities, internship opportunities, capstone projects, we are open, we are eager to participate.
Right.
Abigail, I'd ask you in closing, how can companies who might be watching this, how can they make their company more attractive to young, talented professionals like yourself?
Well, company culture is very important. Just making sure that the people that work there actually enjoy working there, and that's expressed to us as students. And then just reaching out, like Leticia said, having that one-on-one conversation with anybody from a company, like a career fair would be an excellent opportunity just to really get to know them and really understand what the company has to offer. And then, of course, initiatives that the company is taking, I think, really resonate with my generation in particular. For example, with just lowering emissions or whatever it may be, but definitely keeping those things in mind.
So not a moving company is what Abby's saying. Not a moving company.
Corporate social responsibility.
Not necessarily, just sustainability.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, hey, this has been wonderful. It's been such a blessing having you all here. Thank you to everybody who was active in the comments and all the viewers that tuned in today. We had a ton of people. If you haven't already, hit that like button, throw a little heart out there to Dallas and Denver. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much, Abigail and Leticia and Tom, for being here. This has been wonderful. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Can you do the next thing?
Like that. All right, y'all. Take care. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.